Yeah, going live. Okay, we're going live. I think we're live. I have absolutely no idea how this works. So I've clicked the Let's Go Live button. And what's meant to happen is it's meant to go to YouTube. So if any of you are following, then I don't know, you should get a message saying Debbie's live. But like I said, I've absolutely no idea. I've done this the second time now only. So yeah, I don't know how you even see it in the YouTube channel. Maybe I refresh it. Maybe I might see it. But yeah, anyway. Oh, I see it now. I'm live. I actually see myself. That's quite funny. I'm going to play myself. Does that sound weird? I'm going to open it so I can see what's going on. Great. So I can see I've got 3 people watching now. Excellent. So hello and welcome. So this is really just me testing out my computer to make sure that the computer is not going to like go on fire and freeze like the last time I did a live stream. And what I'm doing is I'm preparing, hey Zakar, I'm preparing the video that I'm going to do, which is on SEO and the head tag. So I'm going to just like talk you through while I'm just going to talk to myself, which is what I do when I'm preparing the video that I'm creating. And then if you want to listen, feel free to listen. If you want to just switch off, you can watch this later. That's all cool as well. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask, then feel free to just just ask questions and I'll try and answer. I've got the chat open. I've got everything hopefully working. So let's see if we can do this. I'm going to share my screen. So yeah, this is just the application I've created. It's very, very basic. It's what I'm using when I create all these videos. And it's literally just using create Nuxt app, create that application. Hey, Micho. And what I'm going to do today is add the search engine optimization and work with the HTML with the head tag, right? So that you can get the title, the meta descriptions and all that kind of stuff. So no preparation. This is just me making it up as I go along. And then once I've done this and talked it through with you guys, then I will create the video and put the video live on YouTube. So let's have a look, right? So in the documentation, bonjour, Johan. So in the documentation, and I always like to point you to the documentation because we spend a lot of time writing it, but not just that. All the information is there. Sometimes, yeah, it might be hard to find, and sometimes it's scary because there's so much information. But knowing where it is, because I don't remember everything, so I always go back to the documentation. My head cannot retain everything. So feel free to always make sure you're going back to documentation. And it's in here under features, under docs, under features, and under meta tags and SEO. And you'll find all the code is here, right? So it's very simple. And we even have copy buttons so you can copy so that you can actually just copy it and put it into your application. And I encourage you to copy things, put it in, and try and understand what's going on. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit of it. What's very important to remember is that the Nuxt, for search engine optimization, Nuxt uses view meta, right? So view meta is already created for view. And this is what we're using. It's the same package. There's just a couple of minor differences. For example, if you've used view before, you'll know it's called meta info and we call it head. But other than that, everything in here comes from view meta, and how you write it and what you can and can't do and what you can put in here is based on what's in the view meta docs. So do feel free to kind of refer to them as well. And just remember those little changes, like view uses meta info and Nuxt uses head. Okay, let's get started. So here's my application, and that's not my code. That's my beautiful Mac screen. Here's my code, right? So when you create an application with create Nuxt app, this is what you're going to get out of the box. You get the title, the meta, and the link with the fav icon, right? So this is up and running here. I'm using localhost 8000 because I have so many things open that I've just kind of put into my package JSON to always use. Hi theme or theme. I always just like use a different port so I know what's going on. So that's why it's using 8000. So yeah, you're going to use create Nuxt app. You create your application and you get this already. So the content is empty, right? And you would normally put like, this is my fantastic app or whatever, right? And that's just my prettier things that kind of like puts it onto the next line. So as you can see, this is in the Nuxt config. And every time I make a change, it's going to rebuild my application, right? That's normal because the Nuxt config well, it's configuration, right? So it has to rebuild because it needs to kind of, make sure it's got all the configuration correct. So that can be a little bit annoying when you're working with titles and metas, etc. So if I go to here, let me just show you. There we go. And inspect, we should get that lovely title in the head that I created, right? So if I look at content, this is my fantastic app. Yeah, so you can see this is here, right? So that's pretty simple. That's how it works. But like I said, if I want to add more things to here, I'm rebuilding my app all the time. Good morning from Germany. Thank you, Kaub. I'm going to say all your names wrong, so I'm sorry, but bear with me. Okay, so basically what we can do is we can make it easier by not having to, make changes in the Nuxt config and have that rebuilding all the time, especially in development. We can actually just copy this and we can put it into our layouts. Now, if you're working with multiple layouts, then you're going to have to put it in all the layouts, right? So I'm going to put it in here. I've just literally copied it and pasted it and put it in here. And what this is doing is it means, look, you can see that it didn't refresh the whole thing, right? So it makes it a lot quicker. And I can now change this and put from layout, for example. And now if I have a look at my head, I should get, let me see, where is it? There's so much going on in here sometimes that I can't even see. Let me just refresh it so I can see it. Head. And there we go. This is my fantastic app from layout. So you can see that that's working easier than putting it in the Nuxt config. So you can just put it in the layouts. The Nuxt config is like the parent, right? And that's if you have nothing. Hello? Oh, Siri, I didn't ask for you. If you have nothing in there, it will take what's in the config. If you have something in the layout, it will take what's in the layout. If you have something in the page, it will take from it in the page. So it's like a waterfall going all the way down, right? So that means the Nuxt config is kind of like your backup, and then the layout is kind of like your next backup, and then the page is every single individual one. So that makes it easier to work with because I can make changes here and I'm not rebuilding my application, and it's much quicker, especially in development. So I can close this because we don't need to see that building all the time. And what else can we add in here? So we've got our title and we've got our content. Remember that this is in the layout, so it's going to be available across every single page, which is good because you might forget to put a title, but it can also be not good because, you want to title at individual page level. So we can basically, we can leave this as it is, and we can do exactly the same and copy the whole thing, and we can put it in our page. So let's do the about page, for example. So if we copy this in the about page, and we can just call this about page. That's a terrible title, but you know what I mean, right? This is my fantastic app about page. So again, all I've done is just copy and paste it. And if I go to my application and go to the about page, it should see, let me just, I'm not sure if you always have to refresh it or not, or it's just, I'm not seeing things because I've got everything like so big, it's like I need a magnifying glass to see it so that it makes it better and easier for you. So yeah, this is my fantastic app about page, and you can see my title is about page. So that's working pretty cool. If you have any questions, just feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. So great. We have a title. We have a description. Yeah, this is the description. And we have the favicon. So what else can we add here? So we can add quite a lot of things. And you can get all that information, like I said before, from the View Meta docs. You can go in here and you can see what else you have access to. And you can add anything that is in View Meta, you can add here. So feel free to go through the documentation of View Meta. Or, like I said, in our documentation is here. Right, let's add something else. Hey, MZKO. So in our, I'm always going the wrong way. In the documentation, right, we've got things like an external style sheet. So say we wanted to add an external style sheet, for example, because you might want to add something, I don't know. So I'm just going to copy something that that is from new CSS. I'm just gonna, you're not gonna see what I'm copying, but don't worry, I'll paste it and you can see it. So in our link, right, we have an array, which means we can add more things to it. So I'm adding in the link rel, right? This is what you get from a website, only I want to remove the HTML part because we're using this array of link. So I can remove that, and I will remove that link, and I will remove that. And then we need to just change things to be not in equals and to be like the 2 dots, right? So change that, change that, change that, and I need to put a comma here, right? And now that should, oh, I need to put a comma here as well. Oh, I need to put them in an object as well. Sorry, I'm really messing up here. So there we go. Let's just go back and take that and put it in an object. Right, so we're in an array. It's an array of objects. So we're putting our rel tags. Oh, not there. You should go here. What is HID? Great question. So HID is a unique identifier. There we go. So there's my, let me come back to that question in a minute, me too. So that's my array of objects, and I'm putting in my rel of style sheet and my href of, I just took this from newcss.net, right? So I'm just adding in from CDN, JS deliver, some CSS. I don't even know what this is going to do. I'll have a look into, yeah, my website's here. Let me see, what did it do? Oh, wow. So look, that really just changed my whole application styling, okay? So that's definitely working because you saw I didn't do any black there or anything. And I got a lovely black screen. So you can see there, I'm adding in the fonts and the CDN of this new CSS, whatever that is, right? So that's how easy it is to add an external style sheet into your application. Now, if I go to home page, I don't have that, right? Because I just added it at page level. So you can see how easy that was to add specific script tags, style sheets, etc. to a page. So that's because I added in the about page. If I wanted this at layout level, I'm going to say layout level, because remember, if I put it in the Nuxt config, I'm just going to have to refresh the whole, it's going to have to rebuild all the time. So I can put it in the layout, and then I'm going to get that beautiful background across all my pages, right? So that's pretty simple about how that works. Okay, cool. HID. So in the view meta docs, it's not called HID, it's called something else, and we call it HID, and they call it, and I can't remember, unique identifier. Let me see. No. Unique metadata. So they call it VMID, right? So basically this is to make sure that in your parent component, if you have the description, so the parent component could be the layout, and the page component is the child. The page is a child of the layout, which is the parent. So it's going to make sure that we don't have these double descriptions. So if you had a description here and a description here, which is what we have, right? We have one in Nuxt config, one in layout, and one in the page. We want the child component to be unique, and we want them to kind of like only take that description. So in view meta, it's called VMID, and in Nuxt, it's called HID, and that's where that comes from. So just make sure you have the HID, otherwise you're going to have double content, double description tags, and that's not good for SEO. So that's how that comes about. Okay, cool. So we've just added a external style sheet, and that's like an external fonts, right? This could be, you could also add Google Fonts in here, etc. So you can add anything you want in here. So that's kind of really easy to do. Another thing you can do is play around with body attributes and HTML attributes. So what are they exactly? Well, for example, you can add, let me put it in, I think this goes in the meta. Does it go in the meta? Does it go in the head? I think it just goes direct in the head. I'm not sure if I remember. Will we see? We'll see. We might make a mess of this. No, it goes in the meta. It goes in the meta. I'm sure it goes in the meta. So body atters. And then we do, I think it's an object, and we put class, and we can put, I don't know, Let's put class of Debbie and see. So that's not giving me, no, why did you give me a, I didn't ask you to do that. Oh, it's doing that. So, okay, so there's something wrong here. So it doesn't, oh, did I put it in the link? Oh, I put it in the link. Seriously, Debbie? That's a bit better. So now that's not even accepting it. No, I'm in the meta array. Okay, let's go to the documentation. You see the way I told you I always have to go to the documentation because I always forget these things. So meta. Does Nuxt support script attributes? What do you mean by script? Like JavaScript attributes? I think you mean script like JavaScript attributes. Which is yes, because it's like adding jQuery, right? I don't know why you'd want to add jQuery, but yes, you can do that. So where am I? I'm in here. I want to do it in the head tag. Let me just put it right here. I'm confusing myself. There we go. That's better. Okay, so this goes direct in the head, in the head and not in the actual meta. And this is your body attributes. What I'm doing is I'm adding a class to the body. I know it sounds a bit crazy because you're putting it in head, but you're adding a class to the body. So I know it sounds a bit strange. Right, let's see what that did exactly. So if I go to my application and I've just added a class of Debbie to my body. That's kind of cool, isn't it? And then you can style that class however you like. So yeah, you can see that there. So that's one way of adding classes to your body. I mean, you might want to, you might not. That's up to you. You can put that in there or not. But that's how you would do it. Again, you could just put the class in here, right? If I put a class equals, I don't know, demo, for example, then this is kind of like one of the highest divs. So it's kind of almost the same as having the body class, right? So that can also just work. So you don't necessarily have to put it in here, but you can. So yeah, that works. And let me just show you where that's going. So my body is here, div ID of Nuxt. You can see it's got the div ID layout, and then I've got that demo class. So this is kind of like my whole application is inside here. So I can still just style it from there. But if you want to use body attrs, you can. And you can also use HTML attrs. And you can put in, for example, a class in here. Like hello, for example. And this will give me, I never remember which way to go. And this will give me the class of hello in my HTML, right? So that's kind of how that works. So that's really easy. And I'm just using classes here, but it's an attributes, right? So you could put anything you want. Like, for example, I have absolutely no idea why you'd want to do this, but you could put like a ID of my ID, for example, and maybe you needed JavaScript to access that ID. So again, it's there, right? I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can do it. So just, you can add as many and you can add whatever attributes you want in there. And that makes it easy to add things. Now, remember, I'm adding it at default level. You could add this at in the Nuxt config as well. Remember, I'm using the layouts because in the Nuxt config, it's going to rebuild the whole application every time I do changes, and that takes really long. So that's why I'm using the layouts. So that's my body attrs, my HTML attrs, my title. Another thing I can add is a title template. So this is quite nice, actually. Title template. Let me see, Nuxt. For example, maybe I want the word Nuxt before everything, and then I want the Learn Nuxt with Debbie, for example. So how I do that is I use a title template, and the title template means I want this and everything with this %s, replace it with what's in the title. So now if I go to my application and in my head, it says Nuxt about page, right? And I'll just show you that I can change that. Nuxt is amazing. It really is, isn't it? I love Nuxt. Then you'll see Nuxt is amazing about page, right? So that's how to do that. And if I go to the home page, I'm going to have Nuxt is amazing, learn Nuxt with Debbie, yeah? So you can see that, right? So that's kind of really cool. And you could, change that. I've done it that way. I don't know if there's a correct way of doing it, but you can do it whatever way you want. And I'm just putting this bar. You don't have to put that bar. You can just even just do that. You can put this. You can, whatever you want. And now I've got Learn Nuxt with Debbie. Nuxt is amazing. Now it's the other way around, right? So that's how you play with the title template. Okay, what else can we do? So at page level, right? So at page level, we have, let's go to the about page. We have this in here at page level. Now we can actually use a function instead. I'll show you in the documentation first. So this is the normal one. This is here, and this is the function, right? So you can see it's very much the same, but it means if I use a function, I have access to this. I have access to what's in my data, and I have access to what's in like a method or a computer property, for example. So it kind of makes it really kind of special. I'm just gonna copy this whole thing. Well, let me not copy the whole thing because then I'll break everything. Let me just copy the script tag. So if I copy this and go back to my application in my about page, let me just put it down here, and I want to take the, yeah, we don't need the rest. Yeah, let's just replace it. We don't need the link, the favRel. We can put it in later. So there we go. That's going to make that prettier. So now my title is my about page. And this is the about page. And I'm getting this .title, which means in here, I can use this title, right? I don't have to do that manually. So now my title is here, which is going to come from my data property, and it's also going to fill in my head tag with the data property. Now we must use a function in order for this to work. So just remember that if you saw, did I put it in the index? I didn't put it in the index yet. So if you see in here, yeah, it's using an object. It's like this. And we've changed it to use a function so that we can have access to this. Okay, so that will now give me my about page, and that's working just as it should. About page Nuxt is amazing. Just to show you, we can say about page live on YouTube. And about page live on YouTube. Yeah, so you can see that's working exactly as it should, and it's changing it here and it's changing it here. So that's kind of really cool, and that kind of makes it super super fun to work with, because now this can be, updated. It can come from your translation files, for example. It can come from anything. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else I need to cover in this? If you have any other questions, script tags. Let me see if I can find a script tag that I can throw in here to show you how it works. There might be actually one in the docs. External resources. Oh, we just have that. So look, we have this one from Cloudflare. jQuery, lovely. Okay, so this is basically copying. We need script instead of link because that works a little bit different, right? So if we wanted to add jQuery to the about page, then we just add in a script tag like this, right? We just copied it. It's just script source, and that's it. And now I should have jQuery added to my about page. Oh my God, could you imagine? But you might need to use it for whatever reason. And let me see, I just might need to refresh that to see the changes. And in the head tag, what is your preferred headless CMS? Okay, let me have a look. Let me just make sure. There we go. JS deliver jQuery, right? You see my jQuery is in there, yeah? It's getting the CSS from the layout, and jQuery is on the about page only. If I click to home, I get no jQuery. Yes, I just get the CSS, which is coming from the layout. So that's how to add a script tag. Yeah, and remember that all this is in the Nuxt documentation. So feel free to just come in here and copy it so that you don't have to remember it, right? And the same with fonts. Like you can add this font here, and then you can just use it. Dun, dun, dun. Right, so there's my lovely font. What am I using? Roboto. And then I can just say, again, look, I'm literally just copying things. Oh, let me copy the whole style so I don't have to write it. And then I just have on that about page, I'm going to, which I don't know if it's much different to what I'm using. We'll have a look. Is it much different? Yeah, that's a great, there you go. You see that it kind of just changed there. So Learn Nuxt with Debbie's a little bit different. Oh, thank you for updating. Ecamm Live is giving me things. Okay. And I think it's going frozen because of internet, am I right? Did we freeze? I thought we froze. Are we back alive yet? Oh, I think we're back, but I prefer to change my data using a dashboard. Okay, I don't know if this is live or not because Ecamm just kind of sent me a message saying that my internet went, but I think it's back. I just changed, I wasn't using the right one. So yes, I think we're back. So basically, what is your preferred headless CMS? I don't have a preferred one. Sorry, I haven't really played around with enough of them to be able to say I have a preferred one. I use Nuxt content for everything. That's what we use in the documentation. It's what I use on my website. But yes, you're right. It's, it's Git based, so you're constantly in the developer tools. But I live in developer world. So if you want a non-headless one, there are a lot of great ones. I don't like to say favorites because I haven't played with them enough, but I know there's Prismic, I know there's Storyblock, and I know there's like, even Netlify have one as well. I played with that one for a while. It really just depends on which one. Contentful have one as well. Again, it's quite robust. It depends on what you want, and some of them charge money, so it depends on if you need a free one or you want to pay. Depends on if it's a client, etc. So I would suggest that you just kind of like play around and test them out because I think everyone's use case is different and see which one you're comfortable with. That's what I would do. Yeah, I had to change network. That's why. Thank you, Wesley. I had to change from one Wi-Fi connection to another. For some reason, my computer connects to one of them and then it's not as good as the other one. I don't know. The joys of live streaming. But this time I have it controlled, whereas the last time I just like froze in front of the whole world and that wasn't fun. So yes, I think that's all the questions answered. That's pretty much all I can say to you about the search engine optimization. Remember that you can put in anything you want. So if you wanted Kanokill, you could put in that as well. Like you can literally like put in anything that you want in here. And then you've got like, perfect search engine optimization across your application. So again, really, really, really cool. Remember to use a function if you're going to use this. And remember that everything goes from the top down. So you can have it in the Nuxt config and that's going to be across all your application. Then the layout is across almost every page that's using that layout, and then the page is very individual, and the page will rule. Because we're using this HID, it means you're not going to have duplicate IDs. And that's pretty much it. Strappy is also good. Yeah, Strappy is also a good option. That's right, Mitchell. There's quite a lot. You can actually go to modules.nuxtjs.org and you can see, and you can have a look here because we've got a module for most of them, and you can actually just click on this button, CMS, and then you can see like the different options we have, and you can have a look at which one you want to use. That would be a kind of a good place to start. And then you can just use the module and check out, like, look, as I said, Prismic, Storyblock, Strappy. I've never used Laravel, but if you're a Laravel fan, it's pretty good. And Sanity, WordPress Next, if you're stuck with WordPress, well, you can still use it. Contentful. This one I haven't used, but it's good as well. Cloud CMS, I don't know these two, but again, yeah, it's worth checking out. So that's what I would do. I would come in here and then choose one and then play with it. Or read the documentation. If you click on here, then you can kind of like read about it and see its features and kind of like say, oh, okay, this does this. And, this is how easy it is to install and this is how it's going to work. And then you can kind of like And I think normally they have a link to the documentation as well. So you can see like, you know, hosted on Prismic, and you can say, oh, okay, so this is how Prismic works and this looks good, and you can check it out. So that's what I would do. Go to the Nuxt modules, modules.nuxtjs.org, and then search through those. I think I've pretty much, let me just go, I'm back. I think I've pretty much covered everything for that, which has been really helpful. So thank you for all the amazing people for watching, because now I'm going to like actually make the video and, you know, make it into like a 7-minute video. And that was like 30 minutes of me talking. I've got to now make it into 7 minutes. If you have any other questions, this is your last chance. Otherwise, I'm going to close this stream. Or if there's anything else you want me to show you right now, I can stay on for another little bit. If not, I will go and record that video. And I think I'm going to do this quite regularly. Anytime I'm making a video, maybe I'm just going to like go live and make these live and then like actually make the video. So if people find it helpful, and if people say, oh my God, that's like a nightmare listening to you for half an hour, then, you know, you can just watch the video later and it'll be a lot less. And yeah, there's normally about a 20-second delay, or maybe a little bit more between me live and between what's on YouTube. So it always takes a little bit of time to get there. So sometimes I'll ask a question and no one will reply, and then I'll be like, oh, are they listening? But it's because it like takes so long. I have the YouTube open here and it's like miles behind. So so yeah, that's pretty much it. I could sing while I'm, you know, doing stuff. No, I won't sing. I promise I'm not gonna sing. That would be terrible. But no, that would be good actually, because it'd be fun. But yeah, I can see now I'm on that screen. So now it's like, it's a minute delay. It's quite a lot of delay actually. I think it's because it goes through so many streaming platforms. So it makes it quite difficult, which is why when you ask a question, you're like, she's not answering. And that's why. You love my classes. Thank you, BB Creations. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jamie. Okay, cool. Then I'll kind of do this every time I'm creating a video. I'll talk, because I normally do this to myself. So I'll, you know, this is very helpful for me too. So we all help each other out. So that's great. And that means I'm going to turn off. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I really appreciate you turning up. And we'll have more fun in the future, and we'll do more things. And yep, the internet worked. Everything didn't freeze. So that was good. Next content, Netlify, free awesomeness. Elbow cough. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Wesley. Have a great day, everyone. If you're somewhere else in the world, have a great evening. If you should be going to bed right now, have a good night. It's kind of weird, these whole time zones. But yep, that's it. I'm going to finish up. Thank you, Michu. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to press the close button. Oh, I'm going to miss you all now. I'm going to be all on my own. It's kind of nice. I feel like I've got people in the room. Thanks, Tomas. All right, everyone, I'm switching off now. Bye.